The Office of Hawaiian Affairs continues to meet with beneficiaries across the state as it encourages participation in a new nation-building process. On Tuesday, OHA officials met again in Hilo at the Queen Liliuokalani Children's Center. Once again, Hawaiians expressed concern with the timeline that calls for an election of delegates to attend an AHA before the end of the year.
This is again a proposed process by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. They're saying that the basic idea is this, from my understanding, is that if we get a listing of all Native Hawaiians together and they vote for representative or delegates, and don't get me wrong, I know this has occurred in certain formats before, but they elect delegates that represent them, that then those representatives could decide which direction to go, whether it's a reinstatement of a prior constitution of the kingdom, whether it's a federal or state model or some other international independent model. What they're saying is those delegates then could determine that path. One of the things that I think most communities have voiced to me that they're upset about is that list that they're talking about has stemmed from the Kana'i'oluwalu list that has been stemmed from the prior Kauinoa list and other lists, the Native Hawaiian Registry list. And that's upset a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to be involved with that process because they don't trust that process. And even if I stand here and tell you, well, it's a different process, that doesn't articulate across well because people have said that before. And so again, I understand it completely, and I definitely not trying to convince anybody that that you should or shouldn't sign up on this list right now at all. Whatever we do moving forward, it's what the people decide, what the Lahui decides collectively through some type of semi-democratic process through voting, or I don't know, whatever they determine. Again, this is what they're voicing to me, is this collective process should be, that the people themselves should decide what that is.
It's the wrong process from the beginning. Nothing to do with nation building, it's state building.
Okay.
We have a head of state we need to replace. Her position is empty. Office of Executive Magistrate.
Right. I completely concur with
Nothing to do
this.
with nation building, that's
Right.
bullshit.
And
State building should be up there, filling the positions.
For this process, you saying this should be removed completely?
Yes.
It should be
It's the wrong
state
process,
building.
that's tribal, that's crap.
Right. Oh, I understand that. Again, it's not the first time that the committee has told me the same thing, that this process already is going down a particular avenue that could potentially eliminate or restrict other processes.
It already does, just by existing as this.
And I have Facebook and I have YouTube. I know it's not the first time we're saying this in Keokaha, in Puna, and all the other islands, and I think that's perfect because they're saying facilitator convener. That means they're saying let the people direct it. And I know that Office of Hawaiian Affairs again has spent several years building mistrust. So I'm not suggesting that you trust me or trust Office of Hawaiian Affairs because I'm saying so, but I'm telling you again what this process is. And again, not that you have to believe me, and definitely voice your opinion, what you think about it, because I want to know. I want to know how to make this work. I can promise you that I'm not for federal recognition or state recognition, but I'm also not sure if I'm for reinstatement of kingdom. And because the education material is just not out there for us. How do we know? Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about
140 statute law books.
Google. It's all
Well,
on
fucking
Google.
Right, but so you're saying all 500,000 Native Hawaiians know this stuff?
Well,
But that's what I'm saying.
it's
How
all
do we
accessible.
get to
It's
that?
accessible to everybody.
That's
whether
not
it's on
helping
Google
us.
or not. It's on
Accessible is not helping us.
We represent the heart. And that's why we have come to Kaloa. If we're going to let the East and West come in Hawaii, that is Akua Kani's house. Hawaii. Okay? We are caretakers and landlords. Why should we hear everybody's outlook on Hawaii? Ask us, not nobody else.
This here is a Trojan horse. A Trojan horse, if you know what I mean. In 1936, the American Indians accepted federal recognition. They lost their land and their sovereignty. In 1971, the Alaskan Indians recognized, accepted federal recognition. They lost their land and their sovereignty. United States discovers oil in 1972. The biggest oil find in North America. How come they never find them in 1970 or 1960? Because federal recognition wasn't given yet. This here, my brothers and sisters, is a Trojan horse. If you sign that list tomorrow morning early when you wake up, you call whoever you've been signed with. Take my name off. Verify it. We already have a government. We already have a government. And that's the lawful Hawaiian government. This is Liliuokalani's government. She said, 5 o'clock in the evening, reinstate me after all facts and figures are found. They found it in December 18 of 1893. But like everything else gets shoved, like this queer petition gets shoved under the shelf. Educate yourself. Educate yourself. America's been here with a gun to our head 120 years. Not one election yet. Not one. What that tells you? What does that tell you? Office of Hawaiian Affairs said they're going to be neutral. This is not neutral. Look like they in compound. I mean, they, double clutching, and that's not neutral. Turn their assets over to the reinstated lawful Hawaiian government. We'll conduct an election by the people, for the people, of the people.
The ceded lands belong to the ali'i. Correct.
No such thing, no such thing as ceded, no such thing as ceded.
Wait, but the
Crown land.
1.8 million, the crown
Crown
land.
land.
$1.8 million.
Use the correct terminology.
In Kalamai. And I'm sorry for the mana, but the mana is seriously heavy in here, right? 1.8 million of the crown, whatever the crown lands are, that's the ali'i's land. So we need a,
Shouldn't
no,
be 1.8
we need a, what I'm saying is, you need
It should be
a, I got the stage, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful.
We're similarly connected in many different ways.
Right.
One of the biggest ways we're connected is that we are not part of the OHA program.
Right.
We do not respect the state. First of all, people have to understand the mission statement of OHA was to be the sole recipient of all reparations, monies, or land coming back to the Hawaiian people.
Right.
A state agency is going to be the sole recipient of my funds.
Right,
I don't think so.
right back around.
And so we go through this over and over and over. And you keep saying that you got funding, I keep saying where.
Okay.
Because we can do a much better job than
Right,
you guys
it-
have done.
I look for a process. What can OHA offer us? They've got 3 systems of governance there. How can they offer this? The one of independence is a remarkable one, and we'll deal with that first. That one is that what OHA is suggesting, that somewhere in some of the laws of the United States and the state of Hawaii, there is a law that allows one of the states of the United States, in this case the state of Hawaii, to allow a group of people within that state, in this case the Native Hawaiian American, to secede from the United States and the state of Hawaii by some as yet unknown process, right? From some unknown entity, and you can say, I don't know this, I don't know that. I've heard your presentation throughout this, your declaration that much of this is unknown. So we take this unknown path, this unknown place for some unknown result, and through, how do they offer this? Yes, they at the last meeting in Kilcar, they said, no, they haven't got consent from the feds to this. So What can you offer us that's enforceable at the end of this nation building process?